Hi, this is Gavin Haverstick with Haverstick Designs, and this is The Sound Project. So I'm here today with Brady Hoggard from Sonido. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're here at Sweetwater Gear Fest 2023, so we're filming on location, and it's so nice to be able to catch up with you here. Last time we met, we were at NAMM, and just it was really exciting to hear about what you do, and I guess we could start by just telling us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to this point.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, my name is Brady. I'm with Sonido Software, and my background's been in music for much of my life, as an artist, a little bit, but more in the audio production realm. And so I've run a couple studios over the past probably 10, 15 years. And really more my professional background was in software. So I worked with a couple startup software companies and had some really neat experiences there in kind of building these companies more as an employee, right? But building these companies early on and watching the growth and the exits and everything that comes with it. And it was a really neat experience. But so my background is kind of a blend, right, of the technology side as well as the music side. And at one point in my life, I was able to mash the two together and do what we all love and work in the music space.
That's awesome. It's obviously you're passionate about a lot of different things, but when you can put all of your passions together, that's what I did with my work. Like I'm an engineer by degree, but then I love music, and it makes it, obviously it's still work, but it's different when you're just passionate about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's I don't know. It's nice to be excited about what you're doing. You know what I mean? To be passionate about it enough where you're excited and it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
I think that's where we should all be.
Yeah, that's
Enjoy
right.
our life.
Yeah, we're kind of lucky to have that. So,
Yeah.
So tell us about Sonido.
Yeah. So Sonido Software is a studio management platform, right? It's a system or a solution that's designed for audio production professionals to better manage the part of the business that we tend to maybe least enjoy or sometimes we lack knowledge within, but it's the business operations, right? I think a lot of us, we get into the audio space because we enjoy creating music and working with people and that whole creative process flow. But what tends to happen is that whole business side of managing new sales inquiries, these leads that come in, or keeping track of our calendar, or billing clients and making sure that we get paid. Some of that falls by the wayside sometimes. And Sonido Software is here to help streamline that whole process flow, to make it easier for professionals in the audio space to better manage their business operations using a single platform.
Yeah, what's great about that too is like anytime I find something in my business that I don't necessarily enjoy doing, if you can find something that makes that easier, it's a lifesaver, and so I could see that with all the scheduling and I guess maybe tell us a little bit about, I know Sonido has a lot of different components to it, so run down a few of the things that it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is a very comprehensive system. I'll say this, that one of the things that it helps to eliminate is the need to cobble together so many systems. And that's pretty common when we speak with studios that are interested in, most of the time they're interested in simplifying, their operations. But a lot of times what happens is they've put together 8, 10, 12 different systems to manage the business process flows. And now they're stuck in managing all of those different systems. And
they
it takes
don't play
time.
well together sometimes.
Sometimes they don't, and it takes a lot of time and effort. We wanted to simplify that, and so within Sonido, it's really that full life cycle of the business, from the sales. I mean, call it what you will. It's the lead management. When somebody reaches out to our studio by phone or by text or through our website, how do we capture their information, communicate with them to convert them to a paying client, schedule the studio time? How do we bill them and capture those payments? How do we keep track of the project timelines? All of the notation and documentation as far as what are we doing? When do we need to complete this or that? We've got some very specific audio tools as well built into the system, things like your audio file review portal. That's one of our favorite things that our clients love, is the ability to get away from sending out Dropbox links and their clients downloading the files and then going back and forth by email and text message and all these other methods. Having a simplified way where the client simply gets a link, they listen to their audio, they mark up the waveform, you get feedback, go back and forth. And so really it's designed as an inclusive system that brings all of this together so that you have one place to go to manage every part of your business. And think about how it amplifies the benefits when you've got a team of 5 or 10 people in your studio, from your administrative teams to the engineers to interns, having one place where everyone can log in and see the schedule, where they can see the project, where they can manage, everything that they're working on without having to log into so many different systems.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure it also, not only a lot of people being in the studio, but we do a lot of studios where there's a Studio B or a Studio C that also needs to be managed and rent out and be able to do all of that. I'm assuming the software does that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's quite often with a lot of our clients, as you can imagine. It's one thing to manage one studio full-time. It's another thing to have multiple rooms in your studio and need to manage that, and it can get very complicated very quickly. If you've got any number of rooms that you're trying to manage, so having a system that can help keep track of each individual space and what's going on when and where, and which of our team members are involved and assigned as engineers or assistants. Yeah, we try to make that very, very easy.
That's awesome. So who is your typical client for this? I mean, I'm guessing that it's if someone has a bedroom studio, maybe that they don't, not saying they don't need it, but maybe not as big of a need as a bigger space. But what's your typical client?
Yeah, it's been really exciting to work with clients of all sizes. I would say a good number of our clients are smaller, engineers and producers, anywhere from 1 to 5 people in a studio. We do work with a good number of project studios that are just a single person. They also need systems and they need a way to manage and build their business.
Sure.
But we work with large large organizations as well. Our largest client is Spotify. We help Spotify power all of their podcasting facilities and their artist development division. And so that's a little bit different animal, of course, but we can help, anywhere in between. Our largest client has 25 podcasting room and 3 music studios and multiple locations. And how do they manage all of that?
Yeah.
So it helps everyone, in between. And again, the benefits are the same. That's actually something that I've learned that was surprising at first was, you've got somebody who's got a small project studio. It's just them. They're a producer. They're an engineer working with clients. 80% of their needs are the same as this large studio that has, 8 different rooms and they're booking clients all day, every day.
True.
Everyone needs the same tools and we want to cater the system to be a benefit to everyone.
Yeah. So stepping way back, what motivated you to create this software?
Yeah, I think every business has a story. I don't think my story is quite as sexy as some others, but it really goes back to what I was saying before. I was involved in technology with startup software companies, and we had done specialized software for. At one point in my life, I was working in the construction industry, right? And we were building the software that helps power all of these restoration or construction businesses. A specialized system that allows them to run their business workflows, everything from scheduling and everything else. And at the same time, I was running my own studio. And when I think back about that light bulb moment, it really was, I was mixing a project in my studio one night. And I got a text message from somebody interested in a project. And back then, there weren't systems out there for managing the studio. I had, about 3 or 4 different apps that I was using to manage the business, from the billing, adding them to our communications list, taking their information and collecting that in a CRM, a customer relationship manager, scheduling, right? And I started working through that request in the communications and putting their name in this system, and that system didn't speak to this one, so now I got to go put it over there and add other details. And before I knew it, about 30 minutes had passed.
Yeah.
And I remember realizing that took way too long, and I'm doing this in way too many places. And I started thinking about my experience in technology. I said, look, I've helped build systems, specialized systems for these industries before. Why can't we do that here for my own studio or for other studios?
Sure.
And at that point, I flew out to Nashville. I met with a whole bunch of studios, down on Music Row, and was in LA. And I started just surrounding myself with studios of all sizes, of all small project studios to large commercial facilities to universities with an educational, component. Started asking questions and figuring out, what are you using? What's working? What's not working? And what I found, which was very surprising to me, is even these large studios in Nashville, a lot of them that I spoke with said, we don't have a system, right? We use QuickBooks, and that kind of doubles as our contact management system. And they really didn't have anything. Yeah. And as I started pitching these ideas, saying, what if there were a system that could do this and this and this all in one place? How would that make you feel? And there was a lot of excitement and buzz.
Yeah.
And long story short, started building out the whole framework. We hired a team of developers that are still with us today. All of them are still with us. They're terrific. And we built that initial beta version of Sonido. That was back in about 2018.
Okay.
And once we had it to a place where we felt it was fairly comprehensive and useful, we gathered a team of about 8 to 10 studios as beta testers. We gave them the software, had them run through it, took their feedback, continued building. And in 2019, late 2019, we launched the platform. Yeah. And we've been running ever since. So long story, but
no, that's great.
But that's where it comes from.
I know that when we met out in Anaheim, we talked about how late 2019 is when it launched, and then of course we all know it happened March 2020, a few months later. But I think you were telling me about how on the scheduling side of things, that was something you were able to help studios out because they needed to space out things during the pandemic. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was. That was a difficult time for all of us. I think it was really challenging, but it did help us to get creative and think of new ways to do things and maybe pull ourselves out of a rut in some cases. But, for us, it was interesting. Come March 2020, on the sales side, we were starting to gain traction. And then every call after that was saying, my doors are closed. We're not doing anything. Right. Let's talk, in 6 months. It helped us at that point to shift our focus, which you never want to do, right? From sales and marketing to product. But for us, it allowed us to shift our focus back to the product and say, okay, we've had people on for a few months. What do they like? What do they not like? And how do we refine this to be a better fit for all studios? Scheduling was one of those components. Now, it was, believe it or not, the pandemic period, it did slow down a lot slowed down, but we also had some big opportunities that we did not expect to come up. And one of our larger clients at the time, again, with 25 podcasting studios, they couldn't run at full capacity because of regulations. And we were able to work with them on building systems into place that helps automate some of that. So they say, we have restrictions. We can run at 10% capacity. Help us build a system so that at no time we're running more than 10%, and then we have the ability to adjust it as we loosen up these requirements.
I also think it's cool that some software companies, when there's a feature that you would really like to happen, you're like, well, I don't have any relationship with them. I can't give them this feedback, or even if I do, they're not going to implement it. The fact that you guys can do that, get feedback from people, and then actually make those changes, I think is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. There's a lot to be said about automation today, right? And there's a lot of software companies, and this is how it should be in a lot of cases, right? Where you don't need to talk to a person. Like you just go online, you sign up, it delivers the license, you're ready to go. And that works very well. And to scale businesses, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why, but our mentality is we like to build strong relationships with our clients. And I feel like a lot of our clients today, we do have, well, hopefully, we have that loyalty. We've got a lot of clients that have been with us since almost day one. And I think it's because of that. We communicate, we try to communicate very well with our clients and build those relationships, get to know them, get to know their studios, their needs, and address their concerns. I think it's one of the unique things about our industry is there hasn't really been solutions like this that have been adopted en masse before. And it's giving us the opportunity to innovate and break new ground and really listen to what the industry is looking for, especially as we evolve with technology so quickly. Yeah. But every January, we send an open invitation to all of our clients to join us for a webinar. We share, this is what we accomplished last year based on your feedback. These are our top feature requests, and we give all of our clients in that meeting a chance to vote and give us their feedback. And we can't always accommodate every feature request, but we try to build our product roadmap around the requests of our clients because, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's them that are using it every day.
Yeah.
It's those individuals that are seeing the benefits and wanting more benefits. And we try to stay pretty tapped in with their needs, and we try to listen.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So, so how does the software work? Is it a subscription thing, or is it how is it delivered?
Yeah, it is. The software is a subscription model today, and we've got a couple different packages that are available depending on the size of your studio and some of your more specific needs. But that allows us to push new updates and new features every month on a very regular basis, and it also allows us to make sure that if there's a bug or an issue, you're not waiting for months for a new version or a patch to come out, right? We can fix it immediately overnight, and you're moving on your way. So it's a great model for helping our clients to get more and more value. And I mean, to date, we've never raised our prices, right?
Oh.
We deliver more and more features, and we can keep that very consistently.
That's awesome.
That development effort is very consistent for our clients.
How, if anyone's listening that would be interested, like how do they find Sonido? Like what's the best way to interact with you guys?
We try to stay active on social. You can find Sonido software on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter. But I think our website gives the best representation of who we are and how we help studios, just like many of these listeners. It shows how studios are using it today and why it makes sense to bring all of your studio management into one system. Yeah. Our website is mysonido.com, mysonido.com. And it's got all our information, it's got our pricing, and it's a great way to interact with our team through chat or email us. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's next for you guys? Do you have any big agenda items this year, or what's happening?
We do. I got to keep some of it under wraps, but no. Again, it comes back to listening, right? Yeah. We've got a very active roadmap based on feedback from our clients, and there's some big features that we're looking to release, and some other areas within the industry that we're excited about connecting a little tighter with some possible partnerships. So it's very positive, and we're grateful to have the clients we do to help us make these changes and make a difference.
That's so cool. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and talk about it. I know when we met in Anaheim, I was just like, man, that's something that I think a lot of our clients could use, because, again, it's one of those things that it's not necessarily the fun part of what you do. Like you got into this industry to make music and be creative and all of that, but it's arguably just as important as that piece, because if you don't run your business successfully and keep tabs on all these different things, then things slip through the cracks, opportunities are lost, things like that. So I just thought it was a great solution, just something I hadn't heard in this industry. You hear it in other spaces, but it's just really, really exciting what you're doing. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah. It's all about the growth. We're here to help studios grow. So thank you, Gavin. I appreciate the time.
Of course, yeah. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions, you can go to mysonido.com. And also, if you have some ideas for future podcasts, feel free to comment below, or you can email us at info@haversickdesigns.com. Appreciate you being part of the sound project, and we'll see you next week.